welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Inside Track podcast. We've got a fantastic guest with us this morning, despite not being able to see him. He's having to travel this morning. But Ryan Nicholls, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Ryan? Charlesworth.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. Yes, this could be confusing this morning. Don't usually have two Ryans on. And obviously my trusty sidekick and podcast host extraordinaire as well. How you doing, Dr. G?
Really good. I'm excited to have Ryan on. I've been asking, not you, the other Ryan. I've been asking him to come on for ages.
Yeah, no, we have. So finally we've got Ryan. Now Ryan's obviously one of the senior team at Origin Fitness. So probably the best place to start, Ryan, like we do with all of our guests, is just to get an idea of your background. So where did you sort of start? How did you come to do the sort of job you're doing at the minute?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a funny sort of story. I've done. I didn't really go into the role. Actually, when I kind of joined Origin Fitness, I was between a number of different jobs. I just finished sort of travelling, and I was really at odds for what to do career-wise. I really got into training. I really enjoyed spending a lot of time on my own personal training at the time, and actually the role, I applied for the role because one of the things that Origin, at the time they were called Anytime Leisure, one of the things that Origin really were kind of promoting and pushing at the time was the training element that they were doing, and as with a lot of people that didn't know much about Anytime Leisure, I thought it was Anytime Fitness, and it was going into almost do personal training at the same time. So here's me going in, knowing that it's a sales role initially, so it was just like an internal sales role, sort of picking up calls, processing transactions for kind of anybody that was like from a home or domestic, or anybody that didn't really require site visits initially. So predominantly office based. Met with the owner of the business, who's still with us here. Met with the previous director at the time, who corrected me when I said, "Oh yeah, you guys own a load of gyms as well." And I was like, "Well, we have two." So yeah, no, I kind of went into it, and that's, I mean, to give you a bit of background on Origin were previously Anytime Leisure as well. So about, now I'm going to get my timelines off. I've worked with Origin for 10 years, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. I need to look at the timeline now, but about 6 or 7 years ago, we've done a rebrand to Origin Fitness, which is now what obviously everybody knows us as. Previous guys was Anytime Leisure. So one of the main catalysts for change was that confusion element. People were
often confused. Is that genuinely a reason to do it?
It was one of the reasons, but the other reason was Anytime Leisure were almost a distributor of other brands. So we were a large core health and fitness distributor at the time. We had Star Track distribution for Scotland and Ireland. We used to sell another brand of accessories. At the time, we didn't have our own ranges, like nothing that we had. So we had basically a team of engineers, a team of salespeople, service and orders, and then a very, very small warehouse at the time. And then part of that said is, I mean, I think we were pushing, I don't want to put numbers on it just now because I could get them wrong, but we were probably one of the largest distributors of a third-party accessory brand at the time. So it made sense for us to pull that all in-house and then start, to bring our own brand to the masses, especially with the way that at the time sort of gyms and the gym floor, so to speak, was changing and evolving from your traditional cardio suites that was kind of rammed full of big kit as we know it, and obviously functional kit then becoming more prominent.
Well, that leads us on nicely, Ryan, to my next question. I sometimes go to the shows, and for the people out there that are listening who are owners, I found there, how much can you really reinvent kit, really? There's only so much you can do, but I just wondered what is sort of hot and what's now not? You know, what trends are you seeing in the industry from the perspective that you guys live and breathe it every day? What insights could you give us there?
Insights-wise, I don't think anything groundbreaking. You know, I think a lot of people are already making the changes and doing a lot, following on. I mean, I think I can't remember the lad's name. There was a chap over from America, one of his talks that I listened to, and generally what happens is America will do it first, and then we're about a year or two after. So really to get a kind of leg up on what's going to happen in the industry, we've noticed a lot of people following very closely what America are doing. So things like the small group personal training pods, all those things were done in America initially before coming out. Semi-private PT or small group personal training as we know it now, with groups of 1 to 3, 1 to 6, whatever that looks like for the individual. That was initially done in America and then rolled out within the UK. And you know, it's now pretty much everywhere offers that as a kind of service or a solution. Or you know, anybody going into personal training, it's very rare now that they would just have a standalone and do their one-to-ones. They'll still have set clients that do that, but obviously to really kind of, you know, make the most of the opportunity and to monetize it as a business, they're looking at the earning potential from small group as opposed to you know, just doing one-to-ones, because you're then kind of limiting your earning potential there.
It's interesting actually, Ryan, because it's gone. Obviously, CrossFit came in, that gave all the community and that gave the functional stuff, and then from there it's gone very much into different angles. So you've obviously still got your CrossFit, you've got your functional training gyms, obviously away from the brand CrossFit, but pretty much the same thing. Now you get the likes of High Rocks coming in, obviously which driving the fitness competitions, because fitness competition were around. They just never were the thing that they are now, and I can't remember what they used to call them, the fitness competition. But now you've got this group PT as well, which is almost functional training, just in a small environment. So, but those sorts of things have got hugely popular, and like you say, these private gym facilities that you can hire out just for your own PT or for your own like the pods. They started in America. I saw them a couple of years ago, and they've there's quite a few of those popping up in the UK now. So you can go and hire a pod to train in for an hour, and I thought what a clever idea, because no staff, no nothing. You just literally hiring that space.
Yeah, I mean we've fitted out a couple of spaces down south. I think in London way actually, whereby exactly that. You know, someone will kit out. They'll look at a facility. They'll maybe 1,000 or 2,000 square feet, and they'll essentially replicate that small pod environment, but do it 4 or 5 times within that space. So 4 or 5 trainers can then book to take clients in, because obviously the cost of them setting up and running and operating, you know, they're not probably at the level, or you know, they maybe don't want to be tied down to a 5-year, 10-year lease with all the costs that are attributed to alongside that as well. So
it's going to be quite interesting, Ryan, because we've got the guys, the Canadian guys, Safe Sweat, coming on soon, who are doing those pods, but actually for the consumer. I think that's going to be really interesting. You know, that came out off the back of COVID, and you know, in terms of some people want to feel like they've got their own private space. I'll be very interested to hear more about how that's going. I was just curious, Ryan, though, from an equipment perspective, because you guys sell it every day. We love to make our guests just give us straight answers, so we're going to challenge you now. What is still the most popular piece of kit, and what piece of kit has died of death? Just wondering.
That's quite put me on the spot there. I'll look at reports later on and I'll be like, oh, shoot, I missed that one.
No, you've got the answer now.
I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with a bar, plates, and a rack. You know, like everywhere has a need for a bar, a plates, and rack. That will never sort of lose. You know, it's so versatile. You can do so much with it. What's died a death on the main gym floor? Looking at just personally what I sell, and then what maybe the closer members of the team sell. Things like static bikes, not spin bikes as such, but like an upright or a recumbent bike. Uprights are still quite popular, but recumbents out with, obviously those with limited mobility that then need that, like yourself, G. One of those, like those models within the gym floor, we're noticing whereby you would almost have an equal amount to how many cross trainers you would put in. You know, you're maybe looking at a couple of pieces, but then swapping out with some more HIIT cardio pieces. So looking at like a biker, or you know, like putting in an alternate kind of spin bike in there. Looking at then maybe increasing the amount of rowers, some ski ergs, like all these, even assault bikes or air bikes, as we keep the industry kind of knows them as well. So these pieces are taking more of that.
No, go on.
Yep.
No, I was going to say just to ask.
No, fire away. Sorry.
Because the gym floor is changing, you know, because we've gone away from having, I don't know, 10 treadmills, 5 bikes, 4 rowers, all that sort of stuff. Has it become more exciting in terms of what you guys do? Because obviously, whereas before you'd go in and go, I've got a 3,000 square foot club here, just bang, 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 and we'll put a small functional space in the corner. Have you guys found it a big change in terms of going, actually, we can be a lot more creative in what we do with these clubs just because of the type of kit we're putting in? We've got to be a little bit more clever. That people want things different, or is it not changed that much in terms of the wants and needs of your clients?
I think you've pretty much hit the nail on the head. The guys get the opportunity with a blank canvas to then propose something different, and propose something, well, not massively different, because as you kind of mentioned, as you alluded to earlier, Glenda, a lot of people do a lot of the same things nowadays. It's just how you almost package that together, and then the kind of reasoning and logic behind the design or what you've kind of put out there, and obviously the functionality of it as well. Like it's all very good designing a aesthetically very pleasing space, but how is that used? How do then people engage with the kit? Is it quite self-explanatory, or every time someone goes up, are they going to need to be instructor led almost? So it's about trying to.
I'm just thinking, Ryan, when I used Origin, and I wasn't paid to say this, believe me, but when I used Origin for my last big project, I did think that was one thing that really resonated with me, was that it didn't feel like the salesperson was just trying to sell extra amounts of equipment. Every single equipment choice was really thought through about how it would be used and how it became a part of a bigger picture within the gym floor. And I just wondered, on that, what other services do you want to describe to the guys out there what other services you do? Because for me, in my experience, when I used Origin, it felt like a lot more than just a fitness equipment. And I'd love you to just tell us a bit more about how you provide that and what that looks like.
Great. Sorry, Glenda, I know you said you weren't paid to say that. I didn't hear a single word because we went a bad patch on the motorway. Can you rephrase the question, and I can jump in and answer that?
Of course I will. That's funny. No, I was just saying that when we used Origin on my last big project, what I really felt resonated with me was that it wasn't just salespeople trying to, sell me equipment. Every single piece of equipment was part of a bigger jigsaw, and it was really well thought through about how that would be utilised. And it made me think about, for the guys out there, what do you provide other than just the equipment? Because for me, it felt much more than just a fitness equipment supplier.
Oh yeah, 100%. Anybody can move boxes, really, can't they? From the amount of kind of quote requests that we get come in, and it's essentially, here's a list of kit. You need to have some, what makes you better? What is the differentiating factor that you guys sort of bring to the table? Because for the most part, unless you're what we see as one of the big brands, or one of the premium brands, people that want that product will automatically gravitate and buy that product. For those that are lesser known entities that then sort of come to the table, is what they bring that's different. And for me, it's not just like what you mentioned there, the gym design and the thought process and how it all kind of fits together, but it's actually the people. involved in the process as well, and how much a lot of these people buy in and spend the time to know and understand your business, and then make sure that what we're proposing is correct. One of the big things I took when I was, initially starting my career was I had a lot of ethics when I was selling, because I had to think about, some of these guys were coming to me, they had, saved and saved and saved, and ultimately this was their chance to make a go at business. So if I had been the guy that went off the list that sold them basically what they came to me for without any consultation, they probably wouldn't be there a year or 2 years down the line. And then obviously that's their livelihood, it's their family, it's all the kind of knock-on effect that sort of has. So having that time to kind of know and care and find out more about who their target demographic is as well, and who their customer is, because for the most part, a lot of people buy with themselves in mind, or when they start the buying process, they'll look at, say for example, a set of dumbbells. It's amazing how many times a personal trainer will come to you and try and set up a space and then say, we need 50, up to 50 kilogram, maybe up to 60 kilogram dumbbells. And you're like, how many of your clients actually lift over 40 kilos? And,
always used to make me laugh, Ryan, when we used to work in Marriott, we used to get clients coming in and go, what's your dumbbells up to? 32? No, I'm not joining here. And you look at the person and just go, how are you lifting anything above 32? If you are, why don't you just get a squat rack or something like that? It's rare, isn't it? Unless you're a bodybuilding club, it's rare that most people can utilise bigger than a 32, 36.
Oh, 100%. And again, it's just those little things like taking that, and because the majority of a cost, like say for example in dumbbells, as you get heavier, it gets more expensive.
Yeah.
So they could spend the same amount on, for example, that set that only they and maybe one or two trainers would use. So then kind of, having that conversation with them, saying who uses it within the gym, how often are you going to use it with clients? Do you really need to, if we're looking at, doing this, looking at the budget, is this one of the things that can sort of give? Because that then allows you to do more of this. And actually, if you look at your return on invest, like where you're getting your return from, these aren't making you money. They're a nice toy for you to have. They're a luxury product that it's a nice to have. But when you're setting up and you are so budget driven, let's look and be a little bit more careful. Let's get more versatile bits of kit. Let's get more versatile bits of kit in there as well. So
Ryan,
it caters to a wider.
Sorry, go for it, buddy. Sorry.
No. Fire away.
Yes, sorry. I was just going to say, some of our people out there would probably be really interested to know, do you guys supply equipment finance, and how have you seen that changed, in the last couple of years after all the challenges that we've faced?
To be honest, I haven't noticed a huge difference personally, or with the guys. We still get, we use a number of finance companies that we work with. Often established businesses that come to us will already have their own partners that they use for finance, so we can use their finance companies. But we'll work with a number of different finance companies, some that are already part of the IG group that we are very closely all working with as well. And we don't give any financial advice on that. We essentially give them a figure and say there's an indicative cost on how much it will be, and then any numbers or any final crunching on interest rates, etc. We let that conversation happen with the finance guys, because we know equipment, we know gyms, we know that side of things. I'd hate to give someone the wrong advice, so we just pass that on to someone that knows better. And that was something that I picked up along the line from someone who done some sales training way back in the day. Is if you don't know, don't be afraid to say you don't know, and pass it down the line. Like often, especially salespeople will probably give you an answer. It may not be the correct answer, but there's fear of almost saying, sorry, I don't know, but let me find out.
It's interesting, that one, Ryan, because obviously doing what I do for a living, and Glenda, to be fair, with her consulting as well, you're almost expect. So you go into these clubs, you're almost expected to know everything. So a client will go, "Oh, you're the consultant, you know," and you're like going, "Well, that's not actually how it works." I have all my skills, absolutely. I have a broad range of skills that we can utilise. But I'm not going to advise you on the best kit for your club. I'm going to go to people like you and go. I mean, classic example is the work we're doing down at in fitness together. I wouldn't advise the guy. This is exactly what you need. What we do is get you guys on board and go, okay, this is the project. Let's have a look. Let's see what we need, and you guys can then advise on what's best for the space we've got. Because it doesn't make sense to sort of try and claim whatever field you're in. To try and claim you are the be all, and it's like when you see personal trainers that are suddenly experts in nutrition, and you're sort of going, "Are you really though?" Sometimes you're better off going, "Well, I don't know, but I'll find out," or I'll bring someone in that can help in that regard. Or like I wouldn't touch wellness. So if I needed a wellness project for a club, I'd jump on the phone to Glenda. It's not my area of expertise. I would never even try and go down there because it's not mine. So same as nutrition. If we've got nutrition products, I've got a partner that I bring in to help with that. I wouldn't try and launch a nutrition program on my own. And I think that's what you're saying there. It's a matter of going, know where your expertise is, give that perfect advice, and then you bring the partners in to support the business outside.
And these guys spend all day, guys or girls spend all day talking about that field and learning and further development. We can only get a very baseline kind of level of knowledge on it, and then you just have to push it down the line and almost say, I'm not best placed, but here we go, I can definitely hook you up with someone that is. And a lot of people really appreciate that as well, rather than just giving for fear of almost being quiet. A lot of sales guys don't like to be quiet. They always feel like they have to speak.
So you back with us, Ryan?
I'm back with you guys. I've paid the bill on the phone.
The joys of being an on-road, the joys of being an on-road salesperson, right?
The joys, yeah. Something like that.
Ryan, I was just attempting to give you a compliment as well by saying that you really in Technicolor explain the importance of good relationships. And I think sometimes when people are purchasing equipment, they do get a little bit starry-eyed about the equipment, forgetting that once that's, the shine is wore off and, you're in day-to-day operations, you've got to still have a great relationship with your equipment supplier, for maintenance, for refurb, for, ongoing growth and development. And if it's one thing that really resonated with me over time and why I kept buying repeat purchases from Origin is it never felt like it was just buying fitness equipment. I genuinely felt like you guys were part of my journey. And I just think that's so critical and sometimes missed, basically.
I do agree. I think a lot of instances, like a lot of things I've seen in the past are very transactional, and it's what do you want? There you go. There's your kit. Okay, bye. It almost, and that's the last thing you want. Someone that's invested a lot of not just money but time, and has a lot of a lot riding on the decisions that they've made to buy from you, because people don't need to buy from you. People can buy from anyone, and it's what you then do to kind of support as an individual but also as a company for the longer term. So we don't, it sounds very cheesy, but we have a lot of customers that are repeat customers, but we don't want to be just a supplier customer relationship. We like to see it as almost partners and supporting through the journey with from the initial inception there through to 2-3 years down the line, when there's additional questions on kind of servicing, maintenance, all the rest of it that goes alongside. So we do see it as a journey, and we want to go on the journey with a lot of our customers rather than just there you go, crack on, good luck. sort of idea, which is quite refreshing to work with a business that does do a lot of that as well.
I think that makes you stand out as well. I think in an industry where technically you are selling a product, it's not always easy to give that secondary product, if you know what I mean, or the secondary service, because ultimately someone's buying a treadmill or dumbbells or whatever, that's ultimately what they want. So it's like for you guys having to look back as a business and go, okay, how out of them we differentiate ourselves and sort of offer more, because ultimately they want the hard product. And it's how you guys go around it. So say, well, okay, we're not just that, but we also do this, and we support our clients in this way. And that's the important thing, isn't it? It's how you then find that way of doing that to support your clients.
It's that additional value, isn't it? I don't think you can add additional value at various stages throughout the process, whether it's even the initial consultancy, through the delivery and install phase, and then years and years down the line, you can continue to add value, and it's usually that part that a lot of others miss.
Yeah. Ryan,
is there anything? Oh, sorry, Claire. I was just going to quickly ask: is there anything in the industry that you guys are looking at the minute that's really exciting you? That's sort of going, oh, there's some really new stuff coming. You know what I mean? They're sort of going, oh, can't wait for that trend or to come in. Is there anything that you guys have seen that go, oh, yeah, that's interesting?
I'm actually going to be really boring and say, no, not really off the top of my head. I know the product team are working on a good few projects, and I'd be silly if I started talking about them right now, because I don't like talking until they're almost in hand. We like to have the products in before we start pushing and promoting. But for us, what has been, like I said, because of the journey Origin is on as well, what we've done is we very quickly brought a brand to market. For us, it's about constantly improving that product that we take to market, and then making sure that we are one of the best at what we do, and making sure that product will withstand the environments it's being sold into or put into by customers. So a lot of the time, and certainly kind of post-COVID, we noticed through no fault of our own, just certain quality aspects just weren't there. I think factories have maybe started to slack a little bit post-COVID. Obviously, is everything else. You still there? Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, there was another call coming through. That's the one that we're just about to see. I won't bore you guys with all the details, but for us, it's about always making sure that if we put a 5-year warranty on a product, we want it to exceed that. We don't want it literally in 5 years to disintegrate in your hand. You know that 5 years in a very heavy usage club, you'll be more than fine, and then some more.
Yeah. Ryan, I'm very conscious that you're going into a meeting shortly, so I'm going to ask you one last question, if that's okay.
Fire away.
What is the best gym you've ever seen, and why would you say it was the best in your mind?
I would say your home gym, Glenda, because you're in it. She
never uses it.
Well, she does, I tell you. She's got some wriggle on her. No, I would say, and it's not one that we fitted out, but I really like, I watch a lot of the UFC, and some of their performance institutes that they fit out are very, very impressive. I've not physically been in one. I've only seen it obviously online or on kind of TV shows and what have you, but I really, really like the performance institutes that these guys have created.
And come on, Ryan, what's your favourite piece of kit before you go?
Glenda, look at me. I don't train. No, if I was to do anything and something I was renowned for, it was literally if you walked into the gym, you would always find Ryan underneath a barbell
walking back
doing bench
out.
press. underneath the barbell saying, "This isn't the bar I wanted. I wanted some pints here." No, my go-to move was a chest press. Was a bench press, sorry.
Perfect.
All the time, bench press. You'd see me at 7 a.m, just chucking stupid weights on, absolutely ramming myself for the caffeine, and then just trying to be as strong as I could. And
Amazing.
then, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Ryan, look, an absolute pleasure to chat to you this morning. I know that you're very busy this morning. It's lovely to see the trajectory that Origin is on and the success that you guys are having. And I think that it's absolutely testimony to how you treat your clients and the fact that the guys have your support. I've never known someone in this industry to be more caring, actually, and I will put that on record. And you can treat me to a beer, not a beer, but a glass of champagne when you see me, Ryan. But my Ryan,
I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's been the time's flown in.
Ryan, do you want to tell the guys what we do next, and if they want to reach out to Origin?
Absolutely. So we'll obviously put your details at the end of it, Ryan. So if anybody's interested in kitting out the gym or speaking to you guys in terms of refurbs or whatever, all your details will be at the end of the podcast. So they just need to jump onto the end and pick up the details. I know you also were heavily on LinkedIn and obviously Origin you can find on the website. Just before you go, just quickly, we do ask this for all of our guests, so I don't want to leave you out. What inspires you every day, Ryan? Whether that's to work, live, whatever. Who's your inspiration, or what's your inspiration?
That's a great question. To be honest, I've shown Glenda pictures. My current sort of driver right now is I'm very content in life and whatever, everything I've got. But one thing I do really enjoy and love having a switch off is my dog. My beautiful little dog that I've got. She keeps me motivated. Well, Daphne's probably the most. It looks like she trains in some of the gyms we've tried out, to be honest. But family, keeping family, making sure everyone's all right. Just being able to provide and have those luxuries in life that I couldn't afford to do otherwise without working hard and without applying myself 100%, 110% each day.
Fantastic. Well, we both really appreciate having you on. Obviously, we'll put your picture on the front of the thing so everyone actually knows what you look like, whether that's good or bad. So, but really appreciate your time this morning, Ryan. Good luck with the meeting at 9, and we will catch you at the Independent Gyms Conference in a couple of weeks.
Excellent. Cheers, guys. I really appreciate it.
Take it easy. Have a lovely day, guys.
Cheers guys.
Bye.